Hello. So, I wanted to just get on here really quick and talk about, are you really taking care of yourself? Also, I haven't been on live in a long time. So, hello. Honestly, I think it's really important to periodically check in with ourselves. I recently went to North Carolina. I traveled to North Carolina and um, before I went to North Carolina, I had a resting routine, which is also known as a morning routine. But I call it a rising routine, and then a resting routine, which is also called a night routine. And it's really helpful to have something to get me going, and also have a ritual or a set of steps to help my mind and my body, my spirit, to really know like this is time to close my eyes and go to sleep, aka resting routine, which I believe is part of soul care. And anyways, when I went to travel, I ended up like completely abandoning all kinds of routines and rituals or whatever. Like there was no structure, and I really struggled with any other type of structure coming about. However, I did see my hydrotherapist, and I did get my nails done, right, which is self care. But the things that really help me stay aligned, stay sane, and stay like committed to my purpose, to my passions, to my goals, to my rest is soul care. And so the main difference between self care and soul care is self care can be more surface level, right, and can help you for the immediate, while soul care is really around the deeper essence of yourself. And so it's really interesting because like people interchange the two, but soul care is very different. Um, Here's an example of soul care. So for a lot of people, and for me, like going and getting my nails done or deciding to spend money to get my lashes done, which I haven't, if you haven't noticed, definitely haven't got these are just my natural nails, but my eyelashes are just my eyelashes. Like, yeah. Um, and so, sometimes I really enjoy it and it's really nice, but that would be considered self care because it does make me feel good for the moment, right? And then it's over, and then I'm like, okay, I feel, like I've taken care of myself type of thing. But I can still be susceptible to drained, being drained, being extremely exhausted, being um, how do I explain it? Like eternally just feeling like I can't move. And that has to do with soul care because the specific root of whatever it is that can be draining, whatever it is that can be frustrating, um, or perpetually exhausting has not been cured, or it hasn't been solved, right? So soul care addresses the root and the center of what the self-care is doing to manage it, to manage your feelings, manage your well-being, your mind, your body, your spirit, your finances. Um, and so knowing that now, the question is, are you taking time to take care of you? Like genuinely, and not cosmetically, or which that's important as well, but deep down in the core of who you are in relation to your goals, in relation to your well-being and your health, you know the soul work, the shadow work, the deep inner conversations and connections, and peeling the layers one by one. So I'll give you all another example. For me, I was just talking to one of my career coaches about this, but the realization that I had as an author, as a business owner, was this hyper performance, right? Always doing something, always being a part of something, and going and going and going. It doesn't mean that I don't have the energy for it, but I'm always, draining and depleting my energy to not do anything else. That is part of life. So focused onto my purpose that I'm not engaging my passions, my relationships, my connection with myself, my spiritual walk. And the purpose may be part of spiritual walk, but there's so many other life domains, right? So other than just career, there's your health, your mind, body, and spirit, your joy, your passions, your excitement. And that's where soul care comes into play of, what is your balance? What are you healing? What needs to be healed for you to not, work your job, all the extra hours for days at a time to the point that you cannot physically move out of bed? Where does that really come from? Where is that mentality? Why is that happening? Why do you feel like that is a necessity to do, to deplete yourself of so much energy and life, existence, and time, right? Why is all your time and energy going into that? So I had a realization, and I said, okay, well, the deep, deep aspect of it, right, having to push my ego aside, I realized that the deeper meaning of it was the relationship that I have with my birth mother and the relationship that I have with my birth father, which is that there isn't a relationship. And, I've always wanted to be accepted by them, and I've always wanted them to value me and see me as worthy. And from the past recent events a few months ago, I came to realization that that might never be the case. However, on the surface layer, right, and it is still true about being connected to purpose of doing the work and all the other things, but it's the level of sacrifice of oneself that then puts, the deeper core understanding and where the energy, where all of that mentality is coming from. And I realized, although internally I'm believing and with intentions that, yeah, I need to be the one to do this thing, right? And show up 100, 1,000 times and do all the different things to the point in the sacrifice of my own self. I was living in a survival mode, right? Because that's not, like, it shouldn't be in sacrifice of eating or sleeping or being on the other elements, not just career, not just accomplishments, or not just achievements. So I had to realize that that was another layer of my ego that was trying to help me and support me, because that's all the ego is ever trying to do. May have other skewed ways of of being within us. However, it's always just trying to help us survive. But I don't need to just survive anymore, right? I need to thrive, and that's not one layer of being. Whew. And hopefully that made sense. But that's the question that I'm coming on live to really ask, because I think it's so insidious, like we don't recognize it. and it can show up in so many different ways positively. Um, and so a couple of months ago, I also asked the question, who would you be not in relation to your trauma? So, who are you not in relation to your trauma? And so, for me, what I had to do was recognize that a lot of the beings that I've created in this life has been in connection to my trauma, even though it's been positive. That's the crazy part about it, is like I specifically intentionally wanted it to be positive, but it's still in spite of my trauma. So, as a human, going back to that question, who would I be outside of my trauma, is a completely different person. Completely different person. The more that I engage with myself and I sit with that and I journal it, I have my journal right here, and I expand my awareness of like my humanness, like who I am and who I want to be. It's like the more that I realize it's a completely different person that I've never even met before, that lives within me, right? The healed and unattached to the trauma person. But even the fact of me feeling like I have to be the one is still in relation to my trauma. That's the crazy part about it, is me feeling like I have to be the one to speak up, or I have to be the one to share, or I have to be the one to travel and, connect with these different people. Like I have to be the one comes from my trauma, and specifically like, my parents at the time not being the leaders in my family that I needed, and me recognizing that the ship was sinking, ground rising, the ship was sinking, and I was going to have to step up or it was going to be over. And so my ego, right, and the one that's trying to make sure everything is good, continuously creates situations, right, and experiences where I'm reliving and recreating those different characteristics that I've had to be during the time of survival mode and trauma. And I'm no longer there anymore. So, since I'm no longer there anymore, I don't need those characteristics. It served me at that time for those purposes, and I'm so grateful for it. But I can put it down. And so we go back to the question, and this takes a lot of self-reflection and like not just listening to the first answer sometimes within yourself, right? But also like diving deeper into it and asking yourself follow-up questions. So, first question again, are you really taking time to take care of you, to heal you, to recognize why you do what you do? And is it actually serving who you want to become and who you really are without the experience and the connection to your trauma, negative or positive? I mean, don't try not to go into like maybe, I don't know, like be honest with yourself. And it's a yes or no. And a follow-up question for that is going to be, how will you take care of you starting today? A lot of us will just kind of put it off because we're like, I need the money, which is survival mode, right? Or I need this. Um, I need to be around this person. I'm afraid to be alone, or whatever it is. Well, is that really taking care of you in the long run? And is that really going to, those different actions, are they really going to take you to the next level of who you want to become in this life and maybe the next life? I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm sitting with, and I've been sitting with, and it's been a lot. And I just wanted to share it because I think it'll definitely help someone that's actually ready to look into themselves and really connect deeper with themselves and other people. It's definitely not easy. Like the whole breaking generational curses, I think a lot of people see it as like a cool thing to say, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental, physical, and spiritual, financial power. Um, but introspection is not bad. It's really, really helpful, and that will inspire the next generation of people and the people around you to do the same. So thanks for hopping on to the live. I really appreciate it, and I hope it helps. Peace.